Endogamy. The opposite rule, endogamy, obliges a person to marry within a particular group. An example of this is the caste group of India, traditionally wherein they practice endogamy. The higher castes believed that marriage with lower caste would pollute them, and such unions were forbidden. Ang endogamy naman ay ang kabaligtaran ng exogamy. Sa endogamy, required ka na ang mapangasawa mo ay nasa same community or katulad nga nung sa India, same caste kasi ayaw nila na mahaluan sila ng tao na galing sa mas mababang caste. Cousin marriages. When referring to their cousins, people in the United States generally do not differentiate between types of cousins. In some other societies, such distinctions can be important, particularly with regard to first cousins. The terms for the different kinds of first cousins may indicate which cousins are suitable marriage partners and which are not. Although most societies prohibit marriage with all types of first cousins, some societies allow and even prefer particular kinds of cousin marriages. Most societies sa atin ngayon prohibited na rin yung cousin marriages. Although in some societies, minsan prefer pa rin nila ito for some reason. Possible reasons why cousin marriages are preferred in some societies could be to strengthen family ties and keep the wealth in the family. When first cousin marriage is allowed or preferred, it is usually with some kind of cross cousin. Cross cousins are children of siblings of the opposite sex. That is, a person's cross cousin are the father's sister's children and the mother's brother's children. Sa Tagalog, ang cross cousin ay let's say, nanay mo may kapatid na lalaki at yung anak ng tito mong yon ay ang cross cousin mo. Kapag opposite gender ang kapatid ng parent mo, yung anak nila ay cross cousin mo. Parallel cousins are children of siblings of the same sex. A person's parallel cousins, then, are the father's brother's children and the mother's sister's children. Sa Tagalog, ang parallel cousin naman ay let's say, nanay mo may kapatid na babae at yung anak ng tita mong yon ay ang parallel cousin mo. Kapag same gender naman ng parent mo ang kapatid niya, yung mga anak nun ay ang parallel cousin mo. Parallel cousin marriage is fairly rare, but some Muslim societies have historically preferred such marriages and allowed other cousin marriages as well. The Kurds, who are mostly Sunni Muslims, preferred that a young man marry his father's brother's daughter or yung parallel cousin nga niya. This way, the woman will stay close to home in such a marriage since her father and his brother usually live near each other. A possible reason why cross-cousin marriage is preferred rather than the parallel cousin marriage is because according to the book Evolution of Sex by John Maynard Smith, it was suggested by Richard D. Alexander that uncertainty regarding paternity may help account for the intermarriage taboo on parallel, but not on cross-cousins. Fathers who are also brothers may overtly or covertly share sexual relations with the wife of one or the other, raising the possibility that apparent parallel cousins are in fact half siblings, sired by the same father. Likewise, mothers who are also sisters may overtly or covertly share sexual access to the husband of one or the other, raising the possibility that apparent parallel cousins are in fact half siblings. Like may chance kasi na kapag parallel cousin ay nagkaroon ng sexual relationship or intercourse yung nanay ng bata sa asawa ng kapatid niyang babae or yung tatay ng bata nagkaroon ng sexual intercourse sa asawa ng kapatid niyang lalaki. And that could mean na may chance rin na anak niya sa labas yung sinasabi nilang pinsan ng bata. Levirate and sororate. Cultural rules that oblige individuals to marry the spouse of a deceased relative are exceedingly common and have been an obligatory form of second marriage in a majority of the societies known to anthropology. So dito mas nagiging common na rin daw yung tradition na kung saan obliged or required na ang isang tao na pakasalan yung asawa ng namatay niyang kapatid. Levirate is a custom whereby a man is obliged to marry his deceased brother's wife. Pag levirate, ang isang lalaki ay required na pakasalan ang asawa ng kanyang namatay na kapatid na lalaki. Sororate obliges a woman to marry her deceased sister's husband. Kapag naman sororate, ang isang babae ay required na pakasalan ang asawa ng kanyang namatay na kapatid na babae. How many does one marry? Polygyny. Polygyny is when a man is married to two or more women. Although polygyny is now illegal in most Western societies, it appeared to be a privilege of rulers and elites back then. Although ngayon uncommon na ang mga societies na nagpa-practice nito, back then naging common ito lalo na sa mga kings or leaders ng bansa nila. In early medieval Europe, rulers practiced polygyny to ensure that they would have a male heir, and rulers took more than one wife as a way to build alliances with or annex neighboring kingdoms. Para ma-ensure na magkaroon sila ng lalaking anak, yung mga rulers dati, madalas polygyny ang practice. Kasi kung sabihin natin na isa lang ang asawa niya, and wala silang anak na lalaki at puro babae lang, yung susunod na hari son-in-law lang niya, imbes na anak talaga. Polygyny continues to be a mark of great wealth or high status in many societies. But in those societies, only the very wealthy are expected to support more than one wife. Some Muslim societies still view polygyny in this light, but a man does not always have to be wealthy to be polygynous. Indeed, in some societies in which women are important contributors to the economy, it seems that men try to have more than one wife to become wealthier. Kung sa ibang societies expected sa lalaki ang makapag-provide para sa mga magiging asawa at pamilya niya pag gusto niya ng polygynous na relationship, sa iba naman kung sa society nila ay let's say ang breadwinner or ang nagtatrabaho ay ang babae, pumapasok ang mga lalaki sa polygynous na relationship para mas maging mayaman or at least angat sa buhay. Sororal and non-sororal polygyny. Sororal polygyny is when a man marries two or more sisters. Non-sororal polygyny is when a man marries two or more women who are unrelated to each other. Ang sororal polygyny ay literal na magkapatid or magkakapatid na babae ay asawa ng iisang lalaki, while ang non-sororal polygyny naman ay nagkaroon ng more than dalawang asawa, ang lalaki na ito, mga babae ay hindi magkakapatid. Sororal polygyny seems to work because siblings having grown up together they are more likely to get along and cooperate than co-wives who practice non-sororal polygyny. Dahil nga magkakapatid ang sa sororal polygyny, mas nagkakasundo sila or mas nagkakaintindihan compared sa mga non-sororal polygyny na kung saan hindi magkakapatid or possible na walang previous na pinagsamahan ang mga asawa ng lalaki. A recent cross-cultural study confirms that persistent conflict and resentment were all too common in societies with non-sororal polygyny. The most commonly reported complaint was insufficient access to the husband for sex and emotional support. So dahil nga sa hindi magkakapatid ang sa non-sororal polygyny, mas susceptible sila sa inggitan which leads to some conflicts. Perhaps because conflict is so common among co-wives, particularly with non-sororal polygyny, polygynous societies appear to have invented similar customs to try to lessen conflict and jealousy in co-wives. Number 1. Whereas sororal co-wives nearly always live under the same roof, co-wives who are not sisters tend to have separate living quarters. Among the African plateau Tonga, who practice non-sororal polygyny, co-wives live in separate dwellings and the husband shares his personal goods and his favors among his wives according to principles of strict equality. Katulad nga ng mga practice ng mga African plateau Tonga, magkakahiwalay na bahay ang mga babae at ang sawa nilang lalaki ay hinahati-hati ang mga ari-arian niya equally in between sa mga asawa niya. Reason na rin siguro dito is kung hindi nagkikita ang mga asawa ng lalaki, much lesser chance na magkaroon ng away between sa kanila. Number 2. Co-wives have clearly defined equal rights in matters of sex, economics, and personal possessions. For example, the Tanala of Madagascar required the husband to spend a day with each co-wife in succession. Failure to do so constitutes adultery and entitles the slighted wife to sue for divorce and alimony of up to one-third of the husband's property. Furthermore, the land is shared equally among all the women who expect the husband to help with its cultivation when he visits them. So dito naman, ang mga asawa ay dapat na binibisita yung mga asawa niya ng pantay na beses. Like siguro liwasan or may cycle like si asawa A sa Monday, asawa B sa Tuesday, asawa C sa Wednesday, and so on. Basta walang nakakalamang kung hindi ay pwede mag-file ng divorce yung asawa at pwede niyang makuha yung one-third ng ari-arian ng asawa niya. Number 3. Senior wives often have special prestige. The Tonga of Polynesia, for example, bestowed the status of chief wife upon the first wife. The other wives are called small wives. The chief wife has the right to be consulted first before the small wives, and her husband is expected to sleep under her roof before and after a journey, because later wives are often favored because they tend to be younger and therefore more attractive. Practices that elevate the first wife's status may serve as compensation for her loss of physical attractiveness by increased prestige. Sa tradisyon naman ng mga Tongga ng Polynesia, yung pinakaunang wife ay parang nabibigyan ng special treatment like pagiging chief wife or sa kanya matutulog yung asawa nila before and after every journey. So ginagawa nila ito para compensation na lang kasi nawawala na yung physical attractiveness niya kumpara sa mga sumunod na mga asawa dahil typically pag first wife, mas matanda kaysa sa ibang mga asawa.